Hello and welcome to Roll for Topic. I'm Chris Salzman.
I'm Andy Rowe.
And this week we are joined by Kyle Latino.
Hello, this is the sound of my voice.
And we are joined also by Amber, is it Seger?
Seger, yes, like Bob Seger. And this is the sound of my voice.
Nice, that's great. All right, so I'm going to give you, in just a second, I'll give you a chance to introduce yourselves more fully, but let me just set the stage for what we're doing today. So in continuation with our experiments summer, we're going to be playing a game called The Ground Itself. So Kyle and Amber have graciously decided to come on and help us play that. So Kyle, why don't you give us the quick pitch about who Kyle is?
Well, ever since I first clutched a crayon in my hand.
Let's speed it up. What are you up to these days?
Probably, if you know me at all, it's probably from this show. I've been on like 4 times already. But also, you might know me from my new YouTube channel called Map Crow, the RPG art show, where I do dungeon mapping and map tutorials, mostly isometric stuff. Drawing a lot of maps for TTRPGs right now, most notably for Flames of Freedom, which Amber got me that job. So thank you publicly, Amber, for that. And then some other Zweihander projects and various other Kickstarter things as well. And I'm just finishing up my Kickstarter project, the Old Road, which funded for Zine Quest 3, and the PDF should be finished tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah. World exclusive right there.
Yeah, cool. World exclusive for a podcast that's not going to go live for a couple of weeks. So, yeah.
That buys me some time.
Yeah. Amber, what about you? So Kyle introduced you to us, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm Amber. New to you because this is the first time I've ever been on this podcast. So you can find me online as Rocket Orca. That's my Twitter handle and basically everything I do my social media stuff on. I am a UX certified graphic designer. Primarily been trying to bust into the laying out games for people in the space. And actually recently was hired on at Kobold Press as a part-time graphic designer, layout artist, which is pretty cool. And like Kyle said, I've been working with Daniel on Zweihander for a while. And then when Flames of Freedom came around and he was like, hey, do you know somebody who does maps? And I was like, woohoo, boy, do I. And I sent Kyle's information there. And then I also co-own a podcast network called Geekspective, and that I do lots of things. When you co-own a podcast network, you do everything, and I have lots of shows on there, but primarily I've been focusing on Tabletop Babble, which is like my interview show where I get people on in the space and just like, who are you? Tell me what you do. Let me know. And then, so that's basically me.
That's super great. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we'll have links to a bunch of that in the show notes, of course, for those that are interested. So we're going to dive into this game. So this game I heard about from a podcast called Friends at the Table, which is just phenomenal. I love pretty much everything they do, but they use this as a way to set the stage for their most recent campaign. They use this as a world building, world setting, setting up the campaign game. And I liked it a lot. So I thought we'd play it. We were chatting kind of internally about playing some sort of world building game and thinking about The Quiet Year. And this is I would say a related game. In fact, they shout out The Quiet Year in the introduction. We are going to go really roughly over some of the rules, but we're going to learn them as we're playing as well. So I've never played this before. I've read the rules. Then Kyle's read the rules. Andy's glanced at them.
I've also glanced.
Okay, you've also glanced, which is good, right? This is a nice thing about having a lot of people who've played games before. We can kind of collaboratively figure out what I'm doing wrong. So
I looked through it long enough to see what the rules were for dual wielding katanas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly like this nice, relaxed narrative game, but there's for some reason 200 pages of rules about dual wielding katanas at the back of it. All right. Cool. I'm going to read the introduction here because I think this is a good way to set up the atmosphere of what we're going at. So this is a game about places over time. Think about places that have been important to you. Your childhood fort under the rosebush, your first apartment, the one with a view, the town where your grandmother spent her last few years. Or think about places that have been or will be important to others, a city-state in revolt, an ant colony, a generation ship, 400 centuries into its voyage towards another star. Although there may be times during the game where we are compelled to widen or narrow our focus, this is not possible for us. The story we are building is about this place, this field, this star, this city, this tree, this crossroads. No matter how we feel about our characters, if they leave our frame, we may not follow. Our camera is anchored to our place and may not pivot or stray. Remember that places have memory. That what has happened here is always in some big or small way written into the walls, the stones, or the future of the people who continue to live here. Fundamentally, this is a game about the echoes and traces we leave for others after we are gone. So that's intense, but yeah. But I think to me the big thing that I like about this, so like whereas the Quiet Year is focused on community, this is more focused on place, which is probably good context for it. Okay, so to get started, there's a few things that I want to go over. There's a deck of cards that we're going to be flipping cards out of. This is a podcast, right? So you're not going to be able to see those cards, but we'll tell you what we're flipping as we're doing it. There's going to be one die roll in here, and then the other thing is just like a consent mechanic. So the game uses a coin, and the thought is that you flip it over whenever there's something that you don't like that's happening at the table, and we stop and have a discussion about it. Since we're not in person, I think we're going to use just like a modified X card instead, if that's okay. So if you don't like what's happening, we're all on video here. You just hold up your arms like this, like an X, and we will stop whatever is going on. Like I can let you know up front that I don't want anything with like child torture in it, personally, right? So like that's sort of my line. Your line can be whatever. I don't really, it doesn't matter what it is. So yeah, and then we're also playing online. So we have a shared document that we can draw in if we need to. But for the most part, I think we're gonna talk about this. Okay, everybody good?
I think so. Chris, can you give us a nice juicy like shuffle of that deck next to the mic?
This is
ASMR.
Holy work.
Well, that was a little chunky.
Yeah. Well, okay, because I'm very nervous because I don't actually know how to shuffle.
Oh no, you've exposed him, Andy.
It's on air.
The great
I'll edit all this out. Yeah.
I always have to have other people shuffle cards for me. Like even if I'm dealing, I'm just like, could you please? It'll just take. We'll be here all night if you.
Yeah.
I can't shuffle either. So anytime we play games, I have to.
No.
I have like a dumb way of like laying the cards out on the table, and people look at me like I'm crazy, but I play it cool, like this is a advanced technique.
Yeah.
I know all the shufflings.
Okay. Well, we should have had you do it.
That's right.
There is
Okay,
exactly one competent person on this podcast right now, and it's not me, Kyle, or Chris. So,
okay, all right. So let's dive into the game, so we can stop talking about my deficiencies. But okay, so we're going to define
You
our.
have a lovely reading voice, though. I wanted to say it earlier, but it now seems like a better time. You have a lovely reading.
We will have to graph like my mood over the course of this. Okay. All right. So let's do our setting for the game. So we decide this collaboratively. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around and kind of just talk about like the sort of place that we want to set this thing in. So again, like if you listen to that introduction, it can be anything. It can be a starship. It can be like, a town, whatever we want. Amber, it looks like you have an idea.
Yeah, because so I've been having a lot of dreams about my grandparents' places. And I was just thinking funny it would be a world where it's just like the grandparents' house. Yeah. I don't know, like, because like my grandparents, all of them, great grandparents and my grandparents have houses that are just packed with stuff. Mm-hmm. Like it's just like the collection of someone's entire life is contained in these houses. Like just like my nana in my dad's side had a room that was just cases of dolls with Barbies in it. So I'm thinking things like that would be really fun. But that's just my idea. That's just what's going on in my mind right now.
Yeah, I like that. So one really important thing with this is we are always going to be like yes-anding each other. Okay. So unless hoarding is just terrifying to you, right? Like we'll kind of go with that and modify it. So I think the thing that I want to do is, can we what if it's like a retirement home?
Ooh.
Right? Yeah. But like it's like more like a mansion rather than an apartment complex. So I'm envisioning like this big mansion where a bunch of old people have decided to like move in together.
I like it. Yeah,
I like
something with
the I like the really
storage.
local focus. Like I don't have a strong feeling about what it should be, but I do really like a building or a street or something like that more than an empire or a city.
Okay. Kyle, what's your spin on this?
The only thing I can think of is if we roll millennia, uh,
Yeah.
this retirement home situation. Oh, is my internet pooping out?
No, I can
Okay.
see you.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're good. You can't get out of the podcast that easily.
Yeah.
Nuts. If we roll millennia, this retirement community is like no one will remember anyone who lived there. So that's pretty crazy. But if it's in like an old castle or something, like that might give us a little wiggle room or something like that. So maybe if it's either like on the east coast of the U.S. or on somewhere in Europe or something like that, that could or on an island. That maybe stretches at least as far back as the 1600s. I don't know. These are the things I worry about.
And yeah, we're picking the place, not necessarily like the function that it's serving.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because I had an idea to add on to Kyle's, but I don't know how far we should add on right now.
I
Let's hear
would
it.
say let's maybe just for the sake of it, let's sort of cap it there. So we have sort of like a castle. We're calling it the East Coast of the United States. It sounds like we're all thinking roughly like contemporary times. Like, yeah. And then Kyle has some fears about if we roll millennia. I have no fears about that. I think we can make it work.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm hoping we roll a
Yeah,
ball.
like Amber's like, we're gonna re-roll until we get that. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of, so we need someone to roll a d6. Who has a d6?
I got one.
Oh, Andy's got one. Okay.
Fast on the draw.
Okay. All right. So the timeline for this, right? So the game is played in 4 cycles, right? So this is going to establish the leaps or the jumps. There's a specific jumps that we'll be taking in the game at specific points. So go ahead and roll, and this will give us an idea of what we're going to be working with.
Okay, shall I roll?
There's a lot on
Okay,
this.
here goes.
Man.
Feel free to just lie to us about what the die result is, Chris, if it's about 2.
Weeks.
Oh.
We are dealing in weeks. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping for millennium, but
Okay.
Six.
All right. So
There is an alternate rule set where you can re-roll the time skip every time.
Yeah. I was just going to bring that up, and I was also going to bring up there's another thing that we can do here is we can decide collectively, like, actually, no, we really are attached to millennia. We want to figure that out, and we can just go with it. I'm going to push for us either using this die roll or to do what Kyle said and use and roll every time. I'm getting some nods. Amber,
I like the roll every time because I think it'd be fun to explore what a 2 weeks would be like, and then what happens, later.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
All right, we are going to stick with weeks then. All right, and so now we have that roll, and then we'll see what happens the next time. Okay, so now we're going to move into the phase of the game where we establish the place a little bit more. So we have a deck of just face cards here, and what we're going to do is draw from those and go around, and you'll answer questions based on what those face cards are. And then as soon as we're satisfied that we have an idea of the place, then we can move into the next phase. Or if we exhaust this for some reason, then we'll just move on. Okay. All right. So I am going to draw for people. And do you all have the PDF up?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool.
So we're on page 11.
What I think I'm going to do is just so I'm not talking the whole time. Andy, could you be like our official reader? Would you be up for that?
Yep, sure.
You can do that. Okay, yeah. All right, we're gonna do that, and then Kyle will start with you. Okay, so first card, the Jack of Diamonds.
The Jack of Diamonds. All right, this is the question that Kyle needs to answer. Kyle's up first, you said?
Yep.
Kyle, what is this place named or called? Who named it, and for what reason?
I think it's called Jack's Castle.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I guess because there's a Jack. I guess that's how creative I am right now.
But if all of our answers reference the face of the card,
I was going to say, I'm really glad I didn't get this one because I hate naming things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's Jack's Castle, and I think it's because people forgot who actually, like, they kind of know the culture that built it, but like who actually owned it. They lost ownership. There was some kind of like flu or something. They all died. It's very sad. And then that property actually belonged to like this old guy named Jack, so it just became known colloquially as Jack's Castle, and the name stuck.
Love it. Okay. All right, Amber, you get the King of Clubs.
King of Clubs. If there are inhabitants, what are the visions for the future that they hold?
Oh, no.
Is it a long view or a short one?
Okay, are we a question for the table? Are we okay with it being like weird? Are we truly trying to stay in like a contemporary where humans, or can I inject some fantasy into this?
Oh, it can be. I'm okay with fantasy.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool. Because I feel like it's a short one. I think people who come to Jack's Castle are going to like, this is where you spend the last like 15-ish years of your, like 10-ish years of your life, maybe even less, hopefully, because they want to go to something. I'll leave this up for us to talk about further on, but it's like a transitional place. So either they are passing on to something greater, or I'm also putting it out there, maybe I don't know. I don't know how specific we want to get right now. Let's just say that it's a transitional place. It's a short view that people come to for this place.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to draw for myself. I got the Queen of Diamonds.
Queen of Diamonds. What is valued in this place? What is it known to have in excess?
I think what is valued in this place is the things that other people have left. So as everybody comes into Jack's Castle to transition, they bring their most important items here from their lives. So they get rid of everything, but they bring their kind of their special collections and things like that. But because they're transitioning, they leave them there. What it has in excess is actually like quite a lot of stuff, but it's all of like either good quality or is interesting. All right, Andy, you have the Queen of Spades.
The Queen of Spades. So I was looking at the sheet and I was like, this will be fine as long as he doesn't pick that one. What was the greatest tragedy in this place's past, and how is it remembered? So Kyle kind of already dropped that great flu mass death on us. But let's see if we can come up with something else. What was the greatest tragedy, and how is it remembered? I'm open to ideas here.
Well, I have an idea potentially. Maybe some people didn't transition.
I was going in that exact direction. I was like, can the tragedy be that this place didn't do the job it was supposed to do for some people? Yeah.
Are they still there?
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah. What if there's like a group of people that whatever was supposed to happen, it just didn't, and so they still live there in a sort of uncertain, kind of liminal social status of some sort.
Oh, I like that. Okay. All right. Kyle, the King of Spades.
Let's see. If there are multiple people who live here, what are they divided on? What are the points of contention that are fought over?
Oh my God. Obviously it is, the points of contention are like the exact process by which you will transition to the next life. Like you will, if you will, I don't want to say ascend, translate. If you will translate properly or not.
Yeah.
So there's lots of theories about how to do that, but also it is who has the seaside view. It's potluck, first come, first serve. But so if the last person who left the care of Jack's Castle had the seaside view, then the next person in gets one, and that's something that people just don't let go.
Yeah. So you're saying that somehow a group of people made a pecking order?
As difficult as it is to believe, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. All right.
These are not the human beings I
This
know.
is a fantasy world.
Yeah. All right, Amber, you have the King of Diamonds.
The King of Diamonds is who or what is in power here? Is it a ruler, an apex predator, a series of laws that govern society, the weather?
I have it. It's
Okay.
a giant grandfather clock.
What?
Like, yes, it is, and it's like it has all these multiple hands on it that like tells different things in times, and some people see things that they want to see, some people see other things. That's what it is, and that's who they go to for the answers.
This is like Narnia for old people. I love it.
Wait, maybe we'll learn more about the grandfather clock, but I do need to ask you, does it talk?
Ooh. Some say it does.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
I feel like kicking the can there.
Yeah. All right.
Rumors abound among Jack's castle.
Oh, I love it. Let's see. I got the Jack of Spades. Or sorry,
right.
Spades.
Jack of Spades, what are the threats to this place? Are these threats to the materiality of the place or the people that live in it?
Jack's castle is spooky, guys.
Someone's got to keep winding that clock. The threats to this place. I think the main threat is that lots of people would like to get in, but not everybody can. So there's constantly a line out front.
Oh.
All right. Indy, you got the Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts. Who or what, a person, landmark, society, has been in this place the longest? How did they come to be here? What if somebody, one of the earliest people that was here and translated, came back at some point, and there's no explanation for it exactly, or he or she is closed mouth on the subject, but they have a permanent like home or office or room, and no one knows quite what to do with it.
Okay. Let's see. Do you want to give them a name at all? I think we were allowed to name people.
Do
we want it? Wait. Well, I guess as for the group, do we want to have names associated with anyone, or should everything be somewhat vague?
What if it's Jack?
Oh, what if it's Jack?
Mm-hmm.
But it should be. I think it's Jack. Yes.
Okay. All right. So Jack's the one who came back.
He's very quiet and just observing.
Yeah.
This is getting to also feel very Bloodborne-like.
Yes. Which that's totally okay with.
Yeah. Do we roll for like the mini bosses next? Is that
yeah. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this place. We have more cards if we want to do them. If not, we can call it good. What do people want?
I'm good. This is great.
Let's just keep it rolling. I think we're setting a pretty quick pace. So yeah, let's just keep it going.
All right.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we have time for stuff, and also that we don't go too super long. Okay, all right. So I think we have a good idea of our place. So now we're going to move into the main gameplay itself. So it's very similar. We're going to be drawing from a different deck of cards. The big thing with this is that every time that we draw a 10, that's when we're going to do our jump in time, and we'll do. There's a couple other rules that go along with that we can talk about when that happens. If you do not like your card for whatever reason, or I guess if you might love your card, but you want to do one of these other things instead, you can discard it, and instead you can choose one of these things called a focus situation. So you can instead decide to tell a story, you can throw a party, discover something, see an omen, leave the frame. So this would be to step outside of Jack's castle and go do something else, or show something else in the world, or just if you want to tap out completely, you can just skip your turn completely. So this would be really good if there's a question that you're just like you don't feel good about for whatever reason, or you don't have a great idea. You can do one of these other things, and we can go over them again. There's examples as well, but I think they're mostly self-explanatory.
Now, Chris, are we representing individual characters in this, or are we still speaking outside the setting, kind of describing events within it?
Yeah, we're still we're creating the world, so we are not part of it
Okay.
necessarily, right? So if you want to role play, if that helps you, you can choose a character. We can try to figure out who you are as we go in. But yeah, try to step it like don't everybody pretend they're Jack, right? Like that would get complicated.
Gosh,
Kyle,
yeah.
I no scoped you from yeah. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and start drawing. Let me just skip ahead here. Okay, so Andy, I'm going to rely on you to continue reading off if you're okay with that. If
Yep,
you get
you
sick of
bet.
it, we can change over to someone else. All right. So Kyle, you are up. You have the Four of Hearts.
All right, so all we care about here is the number, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, I totally
Yep.
skipped that. That's a really important part. So every time you draw a number, so there's like four questions for each number of card. We ignore the suits entirely. So the first time the four is drawn, we will do the first question there. Second time a four is drawn, you do the second question and on,
Nice.
like that.
All right, well, the first question for fours is, what is the primary building or natural material of our place?
Stone. Limestone. Do people build out of limestone?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
In this place, they do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
where
I think they
live,
do.
there is.
Yeah, and the acid rain has like etched all these like droopy like black like drips across the surface of it. So once upon a time it was like this pristine off-white, but in the intervening time of pollution, it takes on this much more dismal appearance now.
Ooh, okay. All right, Amber, a 9.
All right, the first question for nines is, what do people eat and drink here? What is considered traditional?
My brain is doing the thing where I was like, do I want to be weird or do I want to be normal, Amber?
Yes, and your brain.
Yeah.
Mushrooms. Name the first thing I think. I think it is like once you go to Jack's castle, I imagine that there is a like sprawling forest or like wild whatever nature, that's the word I'm looking for. There's lots of nature around here. And I'm drawing on my own life. I love to go morel mushroom hunting.
Oh, nice,
So you
yeah.
know what, that's a very old person activity, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I've been, but maybe
Okay.
it is. Okay.
Who knows? I just know that I had family members take me mushroom hunting, and so yeah, it's a mushrooms. That's what they eat here.
I love that because it's a real comment on like the life death thing. This idea of like old people worried about or trying to pierce this translation are like eating decomposers is really interesting to me thematically.
Ooh, yeah.
I totally did that on purpose.
Yes.
That's because you're a
Very smart.
genius. This is why I knew you'd be a hit.
Yeah. I like it. A 3. I've got a 3.
You've got a 3. All right. What do people listen to and perform here? What is considered the folk art?
Oh my goodness. I think that there is a performance that's been going on. Some say since the beginning of Jack's Castle. So it's similar. Like I feel like John Cage has a piece that's supposed to be played over 1,000 years. So it's something like that. So there is someone wrote this thing and said like there's a note every 500 years or 100 years like that or so. So there's a symphony, and part of living there is that you're not allowed to peak. So no one actually knows when it ends.
Oh, that's so cool.
That is the best thing I've ever heard, Chris.
All right, Andy, you got a 6.
Oh.
A 6. All right. What is I get the depressing ones. What is the most horrible thing in or about our place?
I'm going to remind you, if you don't want to answer that, there's always these other focus situations.
No
But-
drug
All right, you know what?
punches, they come
Just
out
to
every
refresh myself on the rules, I want to go take a look at those focus situations.
Yeah, so the focus situation is right. So you could tell a story, right? If you just wanted to tell a random story about this place instead, you could throw a party, discover something. So we know that there's grandfather clock that tells everybody anything they want to know. Right? There could be other artifacts in there. You could see an omen, so you may gesture at some sort of future possibility. You could leave the frame entirely, right? Like you could just go show something else that's happening in the world, or just move on.
All right. What if I'm going to do a focus situation, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to choose discover something.
Okay.
And I'm going to imagine that during some routine maintenance at some point, the janitors discovered the strata of a much earlier structure built on the exact same spot. It almost eerily corresponds with the more modern structure.
Is it is it below?
Below, yes.
Okay. Right below. Okay.
That's cool.
All right. Kyle, 5.
All right, the 5s. What are the stars like in our place? The sky, the weather.
It depends on which floor you see them from.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to make you expand on that a little bit.
The end.
Now, I think they get older the further up you get. So like there are like if you're like on the top of the bell tower, you are seeing what the stars looked like before man walked the earth. I think that's what it is. It's like there's something very strange about the stars.
Okay.
That's very cool.
I'm
so glad, Amber. I'm so glad that you brought in the weird, because it's like I was just like, I don't know how I'm gonna do like Storage Wars for an hour and a half here.
Yes.
Yeah. No. I was already thinking that my dreams. I didn't talk about the dreams of my grandfather places I was having, so they're very weird.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. 2.
A 2.
Amber.
For Amber. All right. Name a monument, marker, statue, or other physicalized memory that exists in our place. What does it mark?
Okay. Name a monument, marker, statue, or other physicalized memory that exists in our place. What does it mark? I need to take a second to think about this. Because I do want to answer this one. This is fun. Mm-hmm. I think it has to be something out front because there's a line to get in. Or maybe it doesn't have to be out front. Does this game, because one of the things I know about the Quiet Year is that it usually says when it's your turn to draw a card, that is your thing to talk about and what you say goes. But in this game, does it say that, or can I also ask for input for the
I think it doesn't actually explicitly say. I think you can ask for input, and I think we're happy to give it. But what I want to do is make sure that we're not taking the turn from each other.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So you can ask away.
So I'm definitely feeling sundial. It keeps coming up into my head, and I want there to be a garden where this is, maybe like a rose garden. And like other things that attract like hummingbirds and other like things, but I don't know what that memory for that place is. That's what I'm having a hard time making a connection with.
And can you read the question again, or like what we're trying to answer?
Yeah. Name a monument, marker, statue, or other physicalized memory that exists in our place. What does it mark?
I have a suggestion.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I think it is. I think it's called The Keeping.
Ooh.
And it is in memorial of the person who wrote the musical, the 5,000-year-old musical.
Yeah. Okay,
So
cool.
it's like it is part of that performance. I think perhaps like whatever bell or instrument is played once every like 50 years or something is done in this garden. In accordance with the sundial.
cool. I like it.
Uh-huh. I like that too. I bet you there's all sorts of rumors too about what's going to happen to that specific memorial, like when it's when it's all over.
Yeah.
All right, the second four has been drawn for me.
All right, the second four. Quote, the bar, unquote, opens their doors to all. What is the bar and who is a regular there? Okay. This one has an or option. So the second option is, quote, the church, unquote, changes a core mandate. What is the church and what about their worldview has shifted?
Oh, those are both really good. How can you combine them? I think I'm gonna go with the bar one because that one was immediately a little bit more exciting. Because I think that there is a like the sub retirement home, the sub castle that you discovered. I think it was like behind the bar in the basement, right? Like someone found that there was a dusty, like trap door that they opened that went down into the other one. Right. But anyway, the question was like, yeah, the bar opened. I think this is the one place that like people in the line are allowed to go to as well. Right. So I think like both people that have decided to come into the castle and people who are waiting to get into the castle can mix at this point.
Is the bar underground or is the bar kind of like out towards the front of the castle?
I think it's like imagine like New York has those, I don't know what they call, but like there's the street and then there's like the
like
basement
Cheers?
One. Yeah, it's like Cheers. It's exactly like Cheers. Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta go.
Yeah. It's a Cheers setup. Like so you can get there from up above or yeah. And all right, Andy, you have a 3, the second 3.
A 3. What do people in our place argue about for fun, whether at the bar, in the square, or in other social spaces? Well, all right, I'm going to have to think out loud a little bit on this one. So one obvious thing that they're going to argue about is the exact nature of what's going on. And didn't one of our previous answers hint at some disagreement, like theological disagreement or some sort of disagreement about what was going on here?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
That's kind of that's where the like tribes and social groups are formed around.
Okay. So what if there's a branch of people in here who are participants that don't believe it works or that it functions at all?
Okay.
And the more, I guess, militant, maybe some of those are here purposely for some reason. And then the more aggressive of them kind of have been leading a heated debate with other people who have various opinions of various places on the spectrum, from skeptical belief to wholehearted embracing of the idea.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be give us an idea of the spectrum real quick. So my thought is that so some people think that you just die. Other people think that you actually okay.
Maybe, we haven't talked about the mechanics kind of how this works, but, maybe the non-believers say you just die and they cart your body out at night and then they can say whatever they want about the mystical translation that took place. And they have, various, somewhat compelling sounding reasons to be skeptical.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Kyle, you got a 7. First 7.
7. I think is this our first 7? What is the most beautiful thing in or about our place?
I think it's the seabird population.
Okay. Are they special seabirds?
Yeah. I think they're great. I think they're. It's a very specific. Wait, what's so funny about seabird?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Keep talking.
I I think there are several unique species of seabirds that nest near the castle, and ornithologists from all over come in to see our beautiful seabirds. Some of them have weird-shaped bills. Some of them have enormous wingspans for their density. Some of them have bizarre plumage. They're seabirds and they're wonderful. This is one of the things I argue about for fun to answer Andy's question.
Okay.
I think Kyle is being possessed by one of our inhabitants right now.
Yes.
Yeah. How many types of... You described like 3 freakish-sounding seabird types. Like how many... What are we looking at here? What an ecosystem we have.
Several seabird types.
Several seabird.
They're all beautiful.
Oh my god.
Mind you, the most beautiful.
All right, I'm back. I'm alive.
Okay.
Maybe yes, and guys.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, it's yes and everybody except for Kyle. It says really specifically in the rules.
How weird that it's written right there.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. 9 for Amber.
All right. I think Amber had the last 9 as well.
Yeah,
so
I
the
did.
second one is someone or a group leaves our place. Who are they and why are they going? What do they take with them and what do they leave behind? Which is like 8 questions for you there.
Yeah, for real. What? Excuse you, game. No, I think that there are people who have to take care of the grounds that are not just the inhabitants, right? Like it's janitors and stuff. But who are they and where are they going? God, it's really hard to follow up the seabirds, Like,
Yeah.
I feel really lackluster right now. I'd be like, janitors, they're sick of cleaning. They went on strike. They left behind the trash.
Yeah. If only we had some seabirds to take care of all that trash.
The seabirds they're like, we're sick of these seabirds. This group of people who think these seabirds are so beautiful keep inviting them in with their mushroom fritters and leaving them all in place, attracting seagulls, and we're sick of cleaning up bird poop and all this trash. So bye. Yeah, I think it's disgruntled janitors.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be a terrible place to be a janitor. Yeah. All right. We got our first 10.
All right.
Okay, so a 10 has been drawn. That means we are at the end of our first cycle. So time is about to advance. So everything that we've talked about, right, is true for the time that we were in. Now we're going to advance. So we have already rolled that 6-sided die, and we agreed that we wanted to roll at the in between each cycle, but we'll keep that initial one, I think, just to go forward. So the next thing, though, that we need to do is actually roll that 6-sided die again. So, Andy, do you want to do that?
Sure. All right, here we go. 3.
Okay, so we are going to multiply the number we rolled before and then with 3. So 3 weeks have passed in between what we've been talking about and now. And so we can either go forward or backward. I think backward might break my brain a little bit, so I think we're going to go forward with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks after the janitor left because
Yeah,
of the
basically
seabirds.
3 weeks after the janitor left, 3 weeks after, all this sort of stuff. Right. There's a number of things that I think are time-based that we've set up, so maybe some of those things will happen.
It's interesting, just that, like, I think most of our descriptions have been, like, not rooted in events, but more just general. But some events did get mentioned in a lot of our answers, so yeah.
Okay.
So do we repeat the card process from before?
There's a couple other things that we need to do. So the first thing is the game recommends that we actually take a break at this point, and I'm going to say let's actually do that because I think that might be useful. So let's take like a 2-minute break. For those who are listening, we're going to cut out that 2-minute break, but you could also take a 2-minute break. That's probably a good idea, even listening to a podcast for too long. So we're all going to go, I think, like hit the bathroom, maybe get something to drink, and then we'll be back.
Could I make a suggestion to our listening audience?
Oh yeah, sure.
Make it a 4 minutes and 33-second break, and just go listen to John Cage's piece.
Yeah, you can listen to it anywhere. You don't even need to buy the CD or the album. Just
it's unplugged, man.
Yeah. Hey everybody, Chris here from the future, butting in to let you know that we did the rules wrong for what happens when you draw a 10. Well, we did the rules wrong because I read the rules wrong, so I apologize for that. What happens when you draw a 10 is you are supposed to pick from a list of questions when you draw that 10. And these are really cool, really interesting questions, but we just totally failed to do that. So I apologize for that. We do get it right later on, but not until we do it wrong for the first couple phases. But you'll have to wait until next episode to hear that. So we have gone 3 weeks ahead in time, and so we're going to answer a couple questions first, and then we're going to just go back into the game proper. So we need to answer a couple of questions. Do our characters' civilization, slash civilization, still live here in this place? I think yes. Yeah. I don't.
What happened in those 3 weeks?
A mass exodus happened in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think we like Jack's Castle a little bit too much to empty it out at this point. What does the place physically look like now? Has anything visually changed? How does it smell? How does it feel?
A lot of garbage.
Yeah, the janitor's left, so it smells terrible.
Yeah, because there is probably quite a bit of garbage. Probably more seabirds.
A lot of seabirds.
Yeah. I would say probably because of that, maybe the line has gone down some. So before maybe like everybody wanted in, and now maybe it's a trickle, if that. Does the place use the same name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we are good. So let us draw our next card, and it is Andy's turn. We got our first ace.
What are the plants like in our place? The rocks, the soil. So we have sort of described a lot of these things already. Plants, the rocks, the soil. So what if this is just home to? So we know there's mushrooms. We know there's limestone in the area. I guess the way I'm picturing this is what if just the rocks, the plants that grow here, the soil that's here is just pretty unique. So this is not just a place where those mushrooms grow, but maybe one of the only places where they grow due to some combination of temperature and altitude or whatever. And the rocks, I feel like maybe in addition to those limestone, maybe there's just a somewhat uncommon type of rock that's really common around here. Like maybe just like a lot of basalt or something like that. Okay. Just something that you just don't see every day.
Ooh, that's really interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Do they mine it as well?
Maybe all of the maybe it gets mined kind of illegally by people who come in and mine it and cart it down to nearby villages or something like that for building material.
Okay.
I'm inspired. I spent some time at an archaeology site out in Jordan many years ago, and yeah, it was the site was a village made out of a particular type of rock, and you were not supposed to remove rock from the site, but all of the local villages, all of their structures were built out of this rock, so they would just go in at night and cart it out. So that's where the idea came.
That's really great.
Good. That's good.
All right, Kyle, you got the next two. This is our second two. Yep.
All right. Okay. So I don't start back at the beginning of the twos. I start with the next unasked.
Yeah,
two, right?
the next unasked one.
Okay. What is produced in our place right now, and how does it make its way into the wider world? Is it a physical good, knowledge, something else?
Gosh. I'm just going to say the first thing that comes to my head. I think there's a lot of knitting that happens at this place.
Okay.
It's all like little hats for premature birth babies.
Oh.
And stuff like that. There's a lot of community care happening. There's not it's kind of a one way. It's not like a strong connection, but there is like this kind of like community service activity kind of.
Is it just to put a twist on it? Is it because like people think they're going to be reborn as babies?
Oh, gasp! Yes.
Oh man, I was just about to say that Kyle had brought us a much needed, like, pleasant and even sweet element.
Yeah.
But
Oh no, I'm here to drag us down as the facilitator.
I think so. I think they weave in strands of their own hair
Oh no.
for some weird reason. No, it's a fact. No, everybody stop shaking their head. It happened.
It did. As a knitter who knows things about the past and weaving and stuff. Put that hair in there. It's a good luck charm. Find me a good baby. It's what happened.
All right, Amber, you got the third 9.
I've got all the 9s.
Yeah.
all right. It's like the
9.
fourth and final one in these. Is it like an epic? I hope it's like a really epic
I
one.
think
But...
it gets progressively a little bit hairier as it goes on. Remember, you can always, if you don't like this 9, we can always do a focus situation.
This is the third 9.
Yes.
There is planning going into a celebration. Is it a festival, holiday, or remembrance? What is it celebrating?
It's bingo night, baby.
Okay.
Games day. I feel like I think it's a games day where people celebrate, like, it's like not just like I said bingo as a joke, but I think it's a day where it's like revisit the games you used to play in your childhood. So there's hoop and stick. There's some hopscotching. I think that's what it is. So it's kind of remembering what brought them joy when they were kids.
I like that there is like a sort of like a traditional idea cosmically significant. That like it's like instead of like numbers and letters, it's all like astrological signs and alchemical symbols. Sorry, just gonna.
That's good. All right. I have drawn the third 3.
The third 3. All right, we're really getting up there. Ooh, a new style, fad, or devotion sweeps our place. What is it? Who cares about it? I assume that it's not like sneering at its own question there, but that's legit.
Yeah. The new devotion that begins to sweep the place is there is a rumor has started up that those who tend to Jack's Castle get to transition sooner. So the lack of the janitors suddenly becomes a blessing and a boon as people go around thinking that they're gaining points towards their transition by cleaning up around there.
That sounds suspiciously like a parenting technique I've used, but
yes, it does. But yeah, Andy, you got an 8.
I think it's Amber's turn, isn't it?
I just did the 9.
You just did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's only because I talk so much that you thought.
Yeah, surely.
All right, the first 8, I believe. What does success look like in our place, and what do the inhabitants want? All right, well, piecing together stuff we've said before, I think success looks like getting to the top. And on the top floor, there's just one room, and maybe it's got a little bit of a ziggurat shape to it. Maybe that doesn't make it a castle anymore, but success is getting to the top, and what they want. This one I might invite a little bit of help here, but I mean they want to transition to like the next life, or.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, we said it already that maybe that they come back, and I think maybe it represents something different for everybody, right? Maybe it is. Some people think they're going to be reincarnated. Some people might think they go to, I don't know, fantasy heaven. I think maybe it's different for each person.
I like that. So they get the afterlife that they want or that they think they deserve.
Yeah.
Oh, do they like in this? Do they actually get it?
Oh,
are we saying that? Or we just?
I think this, if my headcanon for this place, outside of maybe your guys' heads, is that this is a terrible place to be, actually, because it's a house that is consuming them. So,
Oh no, that's not where.
so that's my headcanon, but
Okay.
we don't have to make that the truth.
Well, I had something like that in my mind too. I don't know if anyone knows if it works, but something happens. And people, over the years, people have imagined that what's happening is these people are moving on to whatever is next for them.
Do you only go into the ziggurat, maybe? Like the ziggurat room, no one ever actually comes out.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Does it?
Well, I mean, don't listen to me. I have a terrible brain.
I actually love it. It hadn't crossed my mind that this place was like feeding on the inhabitants, but that's the best idea so far. But
Okay. All right, Kyle, you got a 5. This is the second 5.
the second 5. All right. Ooh. Well, speaking of this train of thought, what secrets are kept in our place? Why are they kept? By whom and from whom?
It has fallen to me, then, has it?
Remember, you can do a focus situation.
And also, don't listen to anything I said in the last, couple minutes or seconds or whatever. However time works here.
I think if one was to do a close study of the minerals in the bizarre soil and the limestone and the basalts, they would find tiny bone fragments that match the DNA of everyone who has transcended.
Okay.
So they are translated. I think they are translated mostly back in time.
Whoa. Okay.
And if the house doesn't get them the first time around, they'll eventually come crawling back. They'll find themselves back in that line without any knowledge. I don't know. That's what I think. I feel, it feels weird to answer the question. I don't like it now.
Okay.
Let's do a real quick check-in because I'm feeling it. Are we okay with this, like, getting a little darker? Is this okay, or do we want to swing it back into some sort of vague middle ground?
I think I would like to go vague, and here's why. Because I think if we start going down like the horror route, it closes off a lot of options for us. Like this is fantastic. I think this is a great like ghost story that we're writing. The house that eats people, eats the old people. But like but I think if like we can make it a little bit more vague, then I think we'll focus a little bit less on just the specific mystery of killing people. And more on like the place and
sure.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, that's what happens to all of us eventually. We become one with the atoms of the earth, and our stardust is returned to the stardust. I mean, that's where we're all headed. But maybe I'll do a focus question.
Can I ask a clarifying question there? So the question actually was, what secrets are kept? Why are they kept? And who is keeping them from whom? So maybe we could tease something out of those latter questions. So all right. Who knows this and isn't telling?
I think old Jack knows.
Okay.
I think old Jack knows, and he's not saying mum about it. He's perhaps the only person to walk out of the ziggurat. Maybe sometime after, like the last person who could have possibly remembered who Jack was, saw him walk out. So like nobody else, people affectionately call him Old Jack, but he is actually Old Jack, and it is his castle. And the secret of Old Jack is being kept from people because who would believe it? Mm-hmm. I mean, whatever you can't. There's no way to prove it because Old Jack was supposed to have disappeared long before there was any real way to prove that it's him. Can that be it? Can I say
that's fantastic.
Maybe can we just like play like a long beep over the original thing and just like have people like squirm for 30 seconds?
Yeah.